Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging into a really powerful and honestly timeless metaphor. It comes straight from Jesus' words to his disciples. I'm sending you out like sheep among wolves.
Yeah, and that phrase, it just hits differently today, doesn't it? It speaks so much to our modern lives.
Totally. The challenges, the pressures, sometimes feeling, really outnumbered.
Exactly. So our mission today really is to unpack the nature of these wolves.
Right.
Both the external societal pressures, which can feel, frankly, overwhelming, and also those trickier internal struggles we all deal with.
Okay.
And we want to explore strategies, not just for surviving, but actually thriving, finding purpose.
And where are we drawing these insights from?
Well, a lot of it comes from a pretty rich body of spiritual texts. They offer a unique lens, particularly from the Spiritist tradition, focusing on personal transformation and, well, our place in the grand scheme of things.
Okay, interesting. And I hear we've got some pretty thought-provoking examples lined up.
We do. Some surprising real-world stuff, even a famous Hollywood star making a big shift, and this really unique story about a redfish.
A redfish. Okay, I'm intrigued. Let's get into it. Where do we start with these wolves?
Well, to really get it, the source material suggests we need to look back. Way back.
Okay.
Spiritual accounts within this tradition talk about what happened after Jesus' crucifixion. Humanity's rejection, that collective no.
Right.
It apparently sent this huge wave of denial, spiritually speaking. And this, the source says, kicked off a period of intense spiritual disturbance.
Intense how?
They describe it as terrible spiritual harassment. I mean, can you imagine the energetic chaos?
Wow.
There are even accounts mentioned, again, within this framework, of kids in Rome suddenly showing behaviors linked to what they call suffering entities.
Suffering entities, like distressed spirits.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
Disembodied spirits in a bad way. And this widespread unrest, as it's depicted, created this deep energetic imbalance, sort of the foundation for the wolves we're still dealing with.
That's quite a historical backdrop. Heavy stuff. So, if the roots are that deep, how do we spot these wolves today? Is it literal spiritual influence or more metaphorical?
Well, the source connects it to both, but it's fascinating how these unseen influences are said to show up as very real, very tangible societal wolves.
Okay, like what?
Think about this story involving Chico Xavier, the famous Brazilian medium.
Yes, I know the name.
He's in a car in São Paulo, traffic, you know how it is. A near miss happens.
Right, stressful.
And his friend, the driver, gets furious, wants to yell at the other guy. But Chico stops him.
What did he say?
He says, "My son, do nothing. Because there will be a day when the people walking on the streets will largely not be in their normal state."
Wow. That's a chilling thought. Not in their normal state.
Exactly. And it's not presented as just a one-off comment. The speaker who shared this connects it to their own observations. Like in Brasilia, seeing lots of people talking to themselves on the street.
And the interpretation there is they're unconsciously influenced, accompanied by these entities.
That's the interpretation offered, yes. A stark one, like you said.
And we see other signs too, right? The source mentions things we unfortunately see in the news.
Oh, absolutely. The text points to, unprecedented violence, people getting attacked just for a phone.
Awful.
And just this widespread despair. Depression is specifically described as an insatiable wolf.
Insatiable? Why that word?
Because it paralyzes people. Makes them resist help, resist therapy, even resist helping others. It sort of feeds on that inaction, you see.
Okay, so those are the big external societal wolves. But you mentioned internal ones too, the battles inside us.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And the source material argues that we often bring tremendous wolves from what it calls other lives.
Other lives. So reincarnation, past lives.
Within this tradition, yes. It refers to karmic patterns, unresolved stuff carried over. But even if you don't subscribe to that specifically, think of it as those deeply ingrained habits, subconscious patterns, maybe family dynamics that just keep repeating.
Gotcha. Like what specifically?
Well, that inner voice, the saboteur, the one that whispers, it's gonna go wrong, even when things are actually going fine.
Oh yeah, know that one well.
Or remorse, regret. That could be a paralyzing wolf, just holding you captive in the past.
So how do we deal with that wolf?
The key, according to this perspective, is transformation. Turning that remorse into constructive work. Moving from being stuck in regret to taking purposeful action.
Makes sense. Action over paralysis.
Exactly. And sometimes even seemingly small things can act like wolves. Maybe a friend discourages you, or it rains when you plan to do something good. little nudges towards giving up.
It's amazing how widespread these influences can seem. You mentioned Hollywood.
Yeah, Veronica Lake, glamorous actress from the 40s, right? Hugely successful. Apparently, she found the whole Hollywood environment just terrible. The source uses the word pavoroso, which is like
Dreadful.
horrifying, people mistreating each other, trying to metaphorically swallow each other.
Sounds intense.
She saw it as having many more wolves than sheep, and she was serious about it.
So what did she do?
She actually walked away, left her career at its peak, and became a waitress.
Wow. Really? A waitress?
Yeah, trying to escape what she called absolutely painful influences. And the source notes others, like Marilyn Monroe, sadly couldn't handle similar pressures. It shows these wolves aren't just in obvious dark corners.
Okay, so that paints a pretty challenging picture. What's the flip side? What's the path for the ovella, the sheep in all this? How do we find protection, find purpose?
Well, the first step mentioned is building energetic protection.
Energetic protection, what does that mean exactly?
It's about consciously syntonizing, like tuning in, aligning yourself with positive thoughts and actions.
Ah, like tuning a radio, filtering out the static.
Exactly that. You align your frequency with positivity. You create a kind of personal shield against the negativity, the overwhelm. It's about building mental, emotional resilience.
Like an immune system for the soul, almost.
That's a great way to put it. And crucially, it's not something you do alone.
Ah, the community aspect. You mentioned Jesus sending disciples out 2 by 2.
Right. That wasn't just logistics. It was spiritually significant. And he also said, when 2 or more people are gathered in my name, I will be there.
So connection is key.
Absolutely. The energy of others can feed us, support us, and we can do the same for them. Mutual support is vital.
It seems like today, though, there's a tendency to shy away from spiritual things, right? Focus on the material.
That's a point the source makes quite strongly. This tendency to flee spiritual things, thinking matter is all there is.
Yeah.
But understanding, or at least being open to, the idea that life continues, that there are benevolent forces offering protection, that presented as crucial for navigating these wolves. Why do we deny that deeper reality sometimes?
That's a good question. Maybe it feels easier to focus on the tangible.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
But this perspective suggests we might be forgetting that our life here on Earth, it's like a temporary stage. Maybe 100 years, give or take.
A stage.
Yeah. But then we return to our true existence, our spiritual home. So from this viewpoint, the struggles we face now, even difficult relationships.
Like encountering ancient adversaries as family. That sounds rough.
It does, but in this tradition, it seems as part of the plan. Pre-known challenges, maybe even souls we have difficult history with from past lives, showing up again.
As opportunities for growth, for resolution.
Exactly, a pathway for growth. Which brings us back to remorse.
Right, turning it into work.
It's not useful if it just keeps you stuck. If you can't fix past harm directly, the lesson is, don't do it again, ever. That's being the sheep Jesus envisioned. Learn, grow, move forward. Simple, but not always easy.
Okay, let's look at some stories that illustrate this. You mentioned the 10 lepers.
Yes, a powerful one. 10 lepers approached Jesus, asking for healing. Now, the source says, spiritually speaking, only one had earned the merit to be cured.
Merit, like spiritual readiness.
Kind of, yeah. Earned through past actions, alignment. But here's the thing. Because they came together, Jesus healed all 10.
All 10, even the ones without merit.
Yes. The power of that collective seeking, perhaps. But here's the kicker. Only the one who had the merit actually came back to thank Jesus.
Only one? What happened to the others?
They just ran off, presumably back to their old lives, their old imbalances.
Wow. So it highlights gratitude.
Right.
And staying connected.
Precisely. True transformation isn't just getting the fix. It's the continued connection, the recognition, the gratitude. Not just falling back into old ways.
And then there's Peter, or Pedro.
Right, Pedro. Denied Jesus 3 times. A huge failing, immense regret.
A classic wolf moment, maybe driven by fear.
You could see it that way. Yet afterwards, he completely renewed himself, became the rock, the foundation of early Christianity.
The incredible turnaround. Shows it's possible, right? Even after big mistakes.
Exactly. Our deepest errors can become fuel for growth. Which leads perfectly into Andre Luis.
Okay, tell us about him. He was a doctor.
A prominent public health figure, yes. Well respected in his earthly life. But according to the source material, when he passed on and returned to the spiritual world,
yes,
he initially knew nothing about spiritual reality.
Nothing, but he was intelligent, accomplished.
Because he had actively denied spirituality during his life. So his journey back was remarkable.
How did he share it then? if he knew nothing at first?
Well, his spiritual protector, a guide named Emmanuel, subtly connected him with Chico Xavier. Didn't even reveal who Andre Luis was initially.
So Andre Luis started communicating through Chico.
For 3 years, yes. Through psychography, the medium writing down the spirit's words, Andre Luis dictated his experiences, his journey of learning in the spiritual realm. He even picked his own pseudonym, Andre Luis, after Chico's nephew.
And his books, like Our Home, have reached millions.
Millions, which brings us to that red fish story you mentioned earlier.
Ah, yes. The red fish. Where does that come from?
It's an allegory from one of Andre Luis's later books, Libertação, or Liberation.
Okay, set the scene.
Imagine this lovely fountain in a garden, and in it lives this fish, a red one. Life is good. Owner throws in food. It's comfortable, maybe a bit lazy. The source actually says gordinos, like chubby, well-fed.
Uh-huh, okay. Pampered fish.
Right. But one day, this red fish starts thinking, is this it? Is the whole world just this fountain?
Curiosity awakens.
Deep curiosity.
Yeah.
So it starts looking for a way out. And it finds this tiny hole in the fountain tiles. But it's too plump.
Oh, no. So what does it do?
It gets disciplined, goes on a diet, slims down. Serious effort involved.
Wow, a fish on a diet. That is effort.
And finally, it manages to squeeze through that tiny hole.
Freedom. What does it find?
First, a huge river. Sees massive creatures it never dreamed of.
Mm-hmm.
But it keeps going. The river flows into the sea.
The immense, extraordinary sea.
Exactly. An unimaginable world opens up. New life, new challenges, vastness.
Okay, now I definitely stay in the sea. Forget the fountain.
Right. But this red fish, it's generous. It thinks of the others back in the fountain.
Oh, it goes back.
It makes the difficult journey back, squeezes through the hole again to tell the other fish what it discovered.
And how did that go over?
It's not well. The other fish, still fat and lazy, they don't believe a word. They mock it, call it crazy, fanatical. They basically kick it out. The source uses a strong word, trucidarum, almost like they butchered it socially.
Rejected for sharing the truth? That's harsh.
And then, months later, a severe drought hits. The fountain dries up completely.
Oh, no.
All the comfortable, complacent fish who refuse to believe, who refuse to seek more,
Yeah.
they perish.
But the red fish.
The red fish, having bravely sought a new existence, survives.
Oh, wow. What a powerful story. And the connection is...
It directly mirrors Andre Luis's own journey, right? Awakening to a larger reality and returning through Chico to share that knowledge.
It connects to us, the listeners.
Absolutely.
Huh.
The message is, we are the red fish. Deep down, we know there's more than just the fountain of material life. We sense immortality, other worlds, a bigger purpose.
So we shouldn't stay stuck.
We shouldn't remain paralyzed without doing anything with our destiny. We need the courage to seek, to explore, even if it's uncomfortable or others don't understand.
That courage, seeking a new existence, transforming hardship. It sounds like Mayse Braga's story you mentioned embodies this too.
Beautifully, yes. Mayse Braga, who shared many of these insights, faced her own immense wolves. Serious health struggles.
Right, you mentioned deafness, paralysis.
Yes, 70% deafness from an infection. Then 7 months paralyzed from the neck down, wheelchair, then a cane, memory loss. I mean, truly overwhelming challenges.
Incredible. How did she frame that experience?
She talks about the profound lessons learned, the immense patience required, for one, but also the insights gained about herself, about others, about what truly matters.
Finding lessons in the hardship.
And finding humor, too. She actually wrote a book with her daughter about their struggles, describing it as entertaining despite everything. It shows this attitude of facing life's battles with good humor, with perspective.
That's amazing. It's about choosing your response, isn't it?
Exactly. Shifting perspective, finding small joys, treating challenges as opportunities. It's a testament to the power of attitude.
She even painted her apartment pink.
Yes. And adapted it for old age. Just embracing change, finding beauty, refusing to be defined by limitations. A powerful act of choice and resilience.
And that really seems to be the core message running through all this, doesn't it?
Sure.
Choice.
It's always our choice. That's the refrain. Our choice to overcome, to serve, to align with good.
Like Chico Xavier's daily prayer.
Lord, just one more day. That constant, humble recommitment. Keep going until the task is done.
And what is the task, ultimately?
Well, Emmanuel, Chico's guide, taught it very simply. The only objective of the soul that comes to earth is to do good.
To do good. That's the purpose.
That's presented as the fundamental purpose. Not just personal gain, but contribution. It reframes everything, doesn't it? How can my small choices today contribute? How can I turn my own internal wolf selfishness, regret, into constructive action? into service.
Even if not all our personal dreams come true in this life.
There'll be other opportunities, other existences, according to this view. But the commitment to doing good right now, that's paramount.
So, thinking about this practically, for you listening, it might mean reflecting on that balance between seeking help and offering it.
Right. So many seek help, which is natural. But how many volunteer to serve? There's that example of a friend committed to volunteering just one night a week.
And the soul says,
Happy is he who accepts the invitation. Choosing to help, choosing service, it transforms that inner landscape. It turns potential remorse into active, positive work. It pushes back the wolves.
So let's leave our listeners with a final thought to reflect on.
Okay, consider this. We were created for beauty and perfection that one day we are destined to reach.
A hopeful destiny.
So what does it really matter what others say? If they call us fanatics, if they mock our good intentions or our dreams, especially while our task, our work of doing good, isn't finished.
It's a powerful reframing. Despite all the wolves, internal and external, the power to choose kindness, to choose growth, to choose service, that power rests with you.
And those choices shape not just your life now, but potentially your whole eternal journey.
A lot to think about. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.